everybody. How are you? I want to talk about the religious aspect of parental estrangement. And a lot of people who go to church, etc., will use this in their terminology. And they'll say, well, God says you're supposed to honor your parents and our estranged sons and daughters. If we just pray, they'll come back and God will change their hearts. And I think whatever helps you to get through is great, unless it's drugs, alcohol, etc. Unless you're not really coping, then it's not that great. But I think when people tend to use the Bible, I think a lot of times in my experience being raised in the Catholic Church, the Bible was used to control other people, and I had some really tough experiences in the Catholic Church. My grandfather, my first husband was very abusive, and when I got divorced, my maternal grandfather refused to acknowledge me, have a relationship with me, etc., because divorce went against the Catholic Church. All they cared about was that you didn't get a divorce. And so it took him about 5 years to come around, and then he said, well, it's her life, it's her choice. But then the damage was kind of done, and that's just the way it is. So in a religious setting, I've seen the Bible used to control other people, and we forget, and this is the way I was raised, there's a portion in Scripture, in I think it's Our Father, or Hail Mary, it says, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And thy will means God's will, not my will. And we tend to forget, as human beings, we have the right to make decisions as to how we want to live our lives, who we want to have relationships with, who we want to continue to walk this path with. And sometimes our adult sons and daughters or family members choose to part ways from us, and they have that right. I could go to the Bible and bash my kids over the head and say, God says to honor your mother and father, and to, you're going to care for them and they're older, whatever the case may be. And I could use religion to state my case. Or I can say to myself at this time, thy will be done. His will is definitely God's plan, or his will, or whatever's happened is not something I thought would ever happen. Would I have ever thought in a million years that I wouldn't have a relationship with my kids? Absolutely not. Even people that knew us and knew my daughters growing up, their teachers, our friends, people that spent time with us, I can tell you, none of those, if you talk to any one of those people, none of them would ever have said, all of them would have said, I believe that Laura and her daughters would still have a relationship today. So all I know is that I have to consider his will, thy will, and that's all there is to it. There is absolutely nothing else I can do about it. I can't control them. I can't make them come back. I can't make them do what I want them to do. But if I give it up to God and my higher power and my dad up in heaven and my grandmother and say, take care of them, and if you want them to come back and that's your will, that's the way it's going to be. So anyways, that's all I've got, and I'll be back.